have to talk about the documentary Thirst Trap.
Time goes slow again.
1-year-old William White now has 2 million followers.
We gave up our lives to raise children, be married, but Whitey, your phenomena keyed us back into that fun part of our lives.
Come out, I believe, in September on Paramount. It is about William White, or better known as Whitey18 on TikTok. Recently there's a documentary on this guy, and I do remember this guy. I'm Canadian, he's Canadian, and in Canada about 4 or 5 years ago, this guy was blowing up, and he was 19 to 20 at the time, I believe, and he was making content that was like considered thirst trap content. It was a lot of him singing to like 80s music, and there was one video in particular that kind of like really got a lot of attention, and that's kind of what drove people in, I believe, or it was like his bigger video that people were like, ooh, we like this, was him singing to Oh Mandy, and when it gets to a certain point, he like rolls his eyes and people went nuts. They loved it.
Happy you made me, oh Mandy.
But anyway, I remember this guy being everywhere. You could not turn on TikTok in Canada. I don't know what it was like in America, but you could not go on TikTok without seeing him consistently on your For You, like constantly, or either seeing duets of other people with him, but he was everywhere. He was like on the news. He was talked about so mainstream in Canada. It was crazy. Like people knew about him, and he definitely had a bigger following in, I'd say, the older female demographic.
If you haven't seen William White on your social media feeds recently, lip syncing to retro hits in his hockey shirts and rolling his eyes to Mandy, well then check your phone, it's probably broken.
Everybody knows William White is the cougar panty remover.
A lot of my fans needed to feel young again, like gain a spark back.
I've been lusting after William White, who's younger than my son.
I believe he probably had, you know, younger people who were his age following him, but it was a lot of like older women. And he got quite popular. He has about 2 million followers, and I think that's how much he had around that time. I double checked and he kind of still has that same amount, but his videos were huge. Like they were getting millions of views. And he also, I believe, was already a model, but he did get hired on to a bigger modeling agency. So this kid was doing great. Like he clearly was conquering TikTok in Canada for sure. I don't know about other places, but he was doing well. I believe obviously like everything else, like the hype kind of dies down a bit and kind of got lost off the For You page a bit, I think, for most people. But for him, things were crazy. These women were making fan groups, fan accounts. They were sending him money. One woman sent him $100,000.
The older fans spend. They have money.
I've probably given him $100,000 to $200,000.
It was kind of an addictive thing to get him to say your name.
Thank you, Karen, for the PayPal.
Watching William's TikTok.
And these women were very like parasocial. Like they were like obsessed with him. They were like duetting all of his videos. They were watching all of his lives. And I want to make sure people understand. He was 19 or 20 and most of these women were like 50 plus, right? Like a little weird. Like it's one thing to be like, oh, what a cute young guy, like that's nice, but like these women were definitely like, oh, like it's a sexual awakening for me. Like they were very into this young guy.
Surprised at the feelings that were coming up within me.
Women were obsessed, and they even were like wanting to like support him more. So even though on TikTok I believe you can give money and stuff, they told him that he should open up a PayPal, and he did, and by the next day he had $60,000 in that account. So in the documentary, these women are talking about it, which I'm like, oh my gosh, I would be too embarrassed to talk about this, especially at their ages. And they were talking about how they were into him and how these groups, you know, were obsessed with him and that they just wanted to see him do well. They also had like a motherly feeling towards him and were like supporting him like crazy. Like if he'd go out somewhere, he'd like stream and say where he was at, and people would pick up the tab. Like people were paying for most of his stuff.
The boundaries between Will and the fans became quite blurred.
Anywhere he goes, his dinner is bought, his drinks are bought, gifts are sent, like anywhere.
Then in the documentary, he mentions that he had been going to a charity event in Florida, I believe, and he mentioned like, you know, people, you can show up, come meet me. And when he met up with these people in Florida, I think they were staying in the same hotel or something, but they were hanging out. And then there was one woman, I believe her name was like Disney Mom or Disney Woman, Disney something. I'll try to find that, but Disney something. And he like was talking to her, and he like had her come back to his room, and they hooked up. And then this caused a lot of issues, like within like the different communities, and especially within her like little group of like fandom people. Like they were upset. They're like, "Oh, excuse me, you're sleeping with like our man? Like what's up? Like this is madness.
This is blasphemy. This is madness. It's Sparta!
So it caused a lot of like tension, and I think other groups were upset, and he had slept with like I think other fans before, but like that was causing a lot of problems, especially like that group. Like they were upset, like they did not like this, and I guess he had slept with other fans as well, which caused chaos in these fan groups. Like people did not like that, and then they started doxing each other. They started sending like their nude photos of each other out. Like they were ruining each other's lives, and then they started turning on Whitey or William, and they sent out his nudes. And he started to have like a really hard time.
There have been instances of stalking.
We had found out where he was staying.
He got stalked Niagara Falls. He got stalked at the grocery store. He got stalked at Tim Hortons.
It could get dangerous for him.
My privacy, so it's not okay. If it gets too much of an obsession, that is scary.
People harass him and people bully him.
Like, honestly, be careful you talk bad about it. Like, seriously. I was literally thinking I just did not want to be alive.
How did it become?
I was not really that happy with like who I was at the moment. I just need to feel real.
There was also a time when fans were sending him expensive luggage, and they showed up to his house, and he had like a good interaction with the person, like the fan dropping off the luggage. But then he said people kept showing up, and he's living with like his parents and stuff. Like this is odd, right? No matter what, if he's living alone with his parents, it's just odd, right?
I don't think that gifts should be coming to my house for William.
It's
so things definitely started to take a turn. His nudes, I believe, were leaked. I think things started to go downhill. I think he was getting really overwhelmed on his live streams. He seemed to be getting upset with people, calling people weird, and I think his mental health and things were going downhill. I believe he went to therapy. I think he might have been like needing help with maybe substances. I think he was maybe drinking and possibly doing weed, so he went and got help for that. But he definitely was having a hard time with all of these people. Understandable, like you are getting people thinking they know you, people fighting over you, people doxing you for certain things because you didn't do what they wanted. So this really kind of escalated things to an absurd point. Remember during this time when it was very popular, it was like very much so like thirst trappy content, and I do think he maybe catered to like the older demographic by playing like older songs, but I don't know if that was intentional or not, but they definitely enjoyed that. I think a lot of his popularity too was he's very like Canadian boy coded kind of thing, like very like definitely kind of like remind you a bit like Shawn Mendes kind of thing. So I think people were like, ooh, very Canadian-esque, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, it seems like at the end of the documentary he was talking about he wanted to focus more on like gaming and stuff that makes him happy. I was curious, so I like went to his page to see like what's going on. He is still doing the same content. I even saw some like from it a couple hours ago, and then I was like looking through, and he's been consistently like doing the same content for like years. So that's good. He's still probably making money. Hopefully he's not being like harassed and stuff like that, and things have calmed down a bit, because it was crazy. Like there was so many people duetting him, and it was definitely like women being like way too like weird and horny. Like it was crazy. Like, so hopefully that's died down a bit for him, but he does seem to be doing like different things like Discord and stuff, and like YouTube a bit. So hopefully he's finding some success there. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's kind of crazy what people do to other people online and to send money and all this stuff? And like, what do you think about all this? Let me know in the comments. Okay, thanks for joining. Bye-bye.